Good morning, everyone. We're talking this week a bit on heritage because on the 24th of September is Heritage Day in South Africa. And heritage and lineage and community is very important in the scriptures and in the Bible. And yesterday we spoke about lineage and how we can change our heritage. You can actually change your heritage by being the change in the chain from one kind of heritage handed down to the next generation in a better way, maybe. So this day's scripture, today's scripture is Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Um, and this for me shows the heritage of community. I grew up in a Methodist community, and so did my husband. And we used to pray prayers like that said, the communion of saints. We used to talk about the communion of saints. And when I said to my mom, what does that mean? And she said, those that have already died. And I'm thinking, now do we worship the ancestors or do we, because there's so much discussion, especially with ancient civilizations around ancestral worship. So is it that? But I've come to understand it as we do not see ourselves any better. We recognize that they have gone before us. We recognize that this body is just a physical body which houses a spirit which carries on living after the natural body, the physical body actually passes away. Um, and so that is our communion of saints. Some people believe they talk to them, some people don't. That's not the discussion I'm having here today. The discussion I'm having here today is we remember, and our children then get to remember their grandparents. And I remember things that I do because my grandmother did it. I didn't know my grandmothers, but my mother used to tell me stories about actually her grandmother, so my great grandmother. Or we avoid doing certain things that our parents and grandparents did. But more than that, when they talk about we have a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, it's this cloud of spirits that have passed, this cloud of disciplines and traditions that we have to remember and to hold on to, don't just come from our parents. Um, my mother was quite close knit to the women in her church, and so we do things that Auntie Aggie did, or Auntie Lindy did, or Auntie whoever, Auntie Lorraine was my mother's best friend. We do things that they do because she taught it to my mother. So we then become this cloud of witnesses that surround everybody within the community, is specifically like a church community that we are. Um, Even when we were growing up, you would be influenced by your friends' parents because you went and played a lot. Just walked up the road and went and played there. Doesn't happen as much with us anymore. We don't have as bigger and as rich a cloud as what we did. So it is important because I work in a school and they all know in my daughter's school and they all know I'm, Hannah's mom, you know. Um, and do I show children love regardless of who they are? And that I try and do. I'm an empath, so it's easier for me to do. Sometimes my daughter will come to me and say, I don't want you to be nice to that person. Kill me now, why don't you? And also the people within the working in the school, the teachers, and we've got pastors, young pastors that work there. How do we become part of their cloud? How am I part of that cloud? And I'm not saying I'm wise and I'm this. I have some experiences, and some people say, how was it? Because a lot of them are young and they're getting married and whatever. Then they'll say, how did you cope with marriage? I said, well, that's difficult because there was times when not so sure I coped so well because this is how I acted. But I learned that if I did this, if I spoke about it or preempted it or listened to what irritated my husband and tried not to do that, um, life was better. And so I can teach something of my experience and life to a young person. So remember that while we have people that have passed and they have affected our lives, they are our cloud of witnesses. You are also part of this cloud of witnesses right now on this earth within the areas that you move. And what does that say about your God? Heritage is all about what God has given us and how we pass it on. Interesting stuff. Have a wonderful day, and we'll speak again tomorrow.